What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Serve Robotics. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So this upcoming week is going to be a very big deal for Serve. And so there's going to be a lot of key resistance levels you really want to watch for it to get above early on. And this week is more technical driven because essentially you have building permits and starts that is coming out on Wednesday, FOMC minutes. And so the last couple of occurrences of that, it kind of more so reassured what the broader market was already feeling. So it just kind of reconfirmed that, caused the obviously market to go higher. So I think in August, like 2024 and around that time period, FOMC minutes were very feared, but I think right now it's just another data point, nothing really crazy. So that is what is coming out on Wednesday, Thursday, same old, so typical initial jobless claims and so forth. A couple of Fed speakers as well through the week, so that could cause some volatility. But aside from that, on Friday, you do also have existing home sales. So kind of good data points, but nothing that will be able to really move the market. So it is going to be more of a technical driven week. So even more important when it comes down to Serve. But over this last weekend, I feel like a lot of people have been racking their brains and really pondering Serve as a investment. And so I think just the news that did drop on Friday is really doing its job. So in case you don't know, Nvidia did reduce their position, completely eliminated that. And so they did originally buy in. It was announced in July that they had 3.7 million shares. So that caused euphoria. That's what got Serve on the map for the most part. So Nvidia selling out, which did occur during Q4, just to be clear. So it didn't happen on Friday, it did occur during Q4. It's just more psychological rather than anything. And I think that's causing a lot of just people to panic. And in my opinion, there was a nice run up that did recently happen. So it went from roughly 16 to a peak of like 22 or almost $23. That already by that stage, Nvidia already sold out. So essentially, this is just one big psychological game. And in my opinion, I don't see it justified for those individuals that did recently buy in during this kind of recent run, like 18 to 22. You knew very well the kind of risks associated to that. So people were buying in, accepting that potentially it could move up higher. So regardless of Nvidia buying in or out or anything, like, it's not that big of a deal. If they had, let's say, they lent Serve money and they obviously were directly correlated with the balance sheet, then yeah, I'd say, you know what, it is a little bit concerning, but like in reality, they are not. So it doesn't actually affect anything fundamentally with the company itself. So again, if you did buy in at 18, 16 or whatever else, like, you are buying in based on the current fundamentals, and that has not changed. So in my opinion, I think the sell-off on Friday was unjustified, but then again, it's very psychological. Market is very psychological, and Serve already was a very big speculative play. So just kind of be aware of all of that. But going into this upcoming week, I do anticipate shorts to be fairly active and pouncing over the negative sentiment. Going into this week, 15.46% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 3.87 million shares. And so when it comes down to shorts, they've been returning a lot over the last little bit. So it went from 28.74% to where it is now. But like I said, I think shorts will definitely pounce this upcoming week over the negativity. And there's some things that might change that based on a macro standpoint. But regardless, anticipate some fun times ahead. But looking at options, encumbering what happened on Friday, because I did a video on Friday, it was early on in the day, there was 8.26 million in calls, 7.48 in puts. 48% of all the options being done, though, were optimistic in nature. Of the call options that were purchased, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $15 range for this week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly around that $12 to $10. So they are still anticipating further downside. So just kind of, again, just to be aware of that. With it at $13.85, it is trading between this S2 and this S3. So $13.13 is going to be that next strong support. Flip side, 15.10 and 16.32 are going to be the following kind of target slash resistance points. So ultimately, you really want to watch for it to get above that $15 range early on in the week if you're going to see any sort of recovery when it comes down to Serve. And I think just historically, or just on a technical standpoint, every time a stock goes down or up like in excess of like 20%, there's always certain level of profit taking or kind of a value in the opposite direction. So I think just generally speaking, there will be a possible run to this S2, so that $15 range, but for it to actually get above that and stay above that, that's going to dictate whether it does actually continue to move higher back into, let's say, that $16 range, or if it does kind of bounce off of that and trends lower, retest that $13 range, and potentially bears are anticipating for it to be roughly around that, like I said, $12 to $10 range. So it is going to be a very big technical driven week. As of right now, though, I do anticipate also possibly some re-ratings coming from analysts. Just piggybacking off of that negativity, that negative fear. Aside from all that fun stuff, though, on the actual chart itself, so it did bounce exactly off of this right here, that 100-day moving average. So that is $12.61. So even though 13.13, that's a good fib level, good support, you really want to watch at the end of the day this right here as well, that 100-day moving average. If it does break below that, then anticipate a similar pullback to what happened kind of here, so maybe around the $8 range. So it would be kind of crazy, and this is why I feel shorts might be fairly active to try to bring it down below this point right here. So yeah, let me know your viewpoint on Serve. Like, did you buy anything? Did you sell? When it was at its low right here, I think it was at like $12.70. I did sell a $12.50 put for that Friday, and which ultimately it did recover, so it expired worthless. I got some free money out of it, but definitely watch for all of that. I think in Serve's case, if it does have a secondary pull, I'll definitely be more of willing to buy or sell more puts at that stage and just again collect more and more premiums. So let me know your thoughts on Serve. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Do you think Friday's sell-off was justified, or do you think it was just more psychological and just a fugazi kind of thing? What's your general thoughts on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Hopefully everyone had an amazing long weekend. If you're looking for buy signals, pop over to my Patreon to give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.